Hi. I want to share with you an experience I had um, a few days ago, and maybe it'll help with some people who are feel like they're a victim to what happened to them. I was at a summer solstice ceremony, and there's about 25 people there, mostly women, and we ended up talking about our fathers as part of the ceremony. And it turned out that more than at least 20% of the women there were sexually abused by their father, and another woman had issues with her father, biological father, and didn't know who her father was. I was surprised because, being in Sedona, I think people have a different understanding about these things. Some of the women, a couple of the women were over it and understood, but the vast majority of them really were still had the hurt and also the victim mentality about it. And I know it can be hard to overcome something like this, but we have to look at it from a different perspective, from who we really are. Um, I can speak about this because I was also sexually abused when I was 15 years old. Not by my father, but by somebody, a man, when I was a runaway. At any rate, what I'm trying to say is that when we look at things from this point of view, from this third dimensional realm, this reality, this life you call reality, it's a lie. And it's really designed to keep us in a victim mentality and a low vibration. Because what you have to do is we have to step back. And there's a few things that we need to realize before we process shit. And the biggest thing is that humanity has been told massive lies about who we are, about our history, and about what's happening in the world right now. Why do you think this is important? Well, it's important because what we try to do when we figure shit out in this world is that we I'm going to try to get this from stop from what we try to do when we figure shit out in this world is we do it according to this third 3D realm, what we've been taught to, right? But if we've been lied to about what's going on in this world, we're applying a principle. And I'm not saying they all don't work, but I've talked to a lot of people who've been abused and who's been through hardship, adversity, and suffering in their life. And people, yeah, there's people that can overcome it, right? That are strong enough. But there's a lot of people that still hold on to that victim mentality. So what I want to say is that it's like jamming a square peg in a round hole. Yeah, you can get it to fit, but something doesn't feel right. So what we have to do is try to understand who we are from a different perspective. And the perspective is, in order to overcome something and pull yourself out of this duality, is that you need something to grab onto. And in this duality, we have polarity, left, right, fire, water, truth, false. In order to get out of this duality, we need to reconnect with who we really are. So the 5,000-year Bhagavad Gita talks about suffering and why do people go through suffering. And nobody ever questions why they go through suffering. And the reason why we go through suffering is so that we question it. And the reason we question it is so that we discover the purpose of life. And the purpose of life is to discover who we really are. And who we really are is the Godhead. This is what Jesus really taught, is that the Godhead lies within us and that we can heal ourselves. Let me give you an example. And this is something to really seriously consider. And forget about what you're taught and what you're told, okay? Because everything that we've been taught in human history has been a lie. Imagine a cherry pie, okay? And you have this pie. What does it have? Cherries, flour, sugar, salt, vanilla, whatever, a few other things. So if you have this pie, and this pie has all of this, and I cut a slice of this pie, pull the slice away from the whole, does that slice still contain the cherries, the flour, the sugar, the salt, vanilla? Of course it does. It has the same ingredients as the pie, right? As the rest of the pie. It's exactly the same. It's impossible for it not to, right? Okay, so in the same respect, like, who are you? Where were you before you were in your mother's womb? Now, people say that we are created in the image of God, right? Or we come from this energy or this source. Let's call it source. We come from a source. So for the sake of time, let's just say agree on three things. And this pretty much covers everything. We can go on and on, but so let's say this is source, and this source is omniscient, okay, all-knowing. We can agree with that, right? Let's say the source is omnipotent, all-powerful. We can agree with that. And let's say this source has this great benevolent love, and we can agree with that too, right? So if this is source and it's omniscient, omnipotent, and full of this great benevolent love, and I take a piece of this, then does this piece contain the same ingredients, the same characteristics as this? The omniscience of the all-knowing, the omnipotence, the all-powerful, and this great benevolent love. Of course it does, right? So it's impossible for it not to be. Okay? Now what this is here, this represents you in your multi-dimensional self before you came in the world. Search your soul, all right? This is who you are. Now, when we come into this world, we're stuffed into this human body. Our DNA is mutated, okay? And our subconscious mind gets programmed from the time we're in the womb to the time the soul goes into the fetus at 56 days. The programming begins, okay? It's from our environment, everything that comes in, because we don't have a conscious mind yet to discern, to accept or reject information. So we believe everything is the truth, like everything you told about your past, like where you came from, who you are. We learn these things from religion, through school, through our parents, through TV that's been playing on, until our conscious mind is developed between 5 and 7 years old. So basically, to kind of wrap this up, is that everything goes into your subconscious mind, and this forms your beliefs. And beliefs is spelled B-E-L-I-E, Belie, F-S. Okay? So remember that. So when you grab onto this and you know who you really are, that you are the Godhead inside, you can pull yourself out of this duality and start you tapping into your powers and abilities that you have. People can do telepathy, people can do telekinesis, people can levitate, people can do espousal, people can do stigmata, open and close their wounds. People can do all sorts of stuff, manifest things. I've manifested things. So you are a co-creator of your reality. But the thing is, first we have to understand who we are, and then we need to start learning how to think properly. Because the way that we think is all negative. National Science Foundation came out with an article in 2005 saying that we have between 12 and 60,000 thoughts a day. 80% of those are negative, 95% of those thoughts are from the day before. So how are you going to change yourself if you're thinking the same negative thoughts from the day before? The more important question is, how did we get to think so negative? How did we get to think so negative? How did we become programmed to think negative? And when we're in a negative vibration, we're below baseline. And when we're below baseline, we cannot create a new reality. We become disempowered, right? So this is what's happened in humanity. Humanity has given away their power. They have become disempowered. They have been taught that is the way to go. You need to reclaim your power, remember who you really are, start focusing your thoughts in the direction that you want to go, and change your life by intention. And start living the life that you want to live. You're not a victim. You're a powerful, multi-dimensional being. It's time that humanity awakens to this truth. Thanks for listening.